Hey there, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Sarah. Sarah says, I did the Little School of Big Change and it changed my life. For almost 2 years, I did not even feel anxiety. It was amazing and I felt like I got my life back and could start trusting myself to do things that previously used to scare me. Slowly, my panic attacks have started to come back a bit. She says, I used to feel like when I had an insight, it was like mind-blowing. All of a sudden, I wanted to do anything and everything and travel the world if there was no fear involved. But lately, I've been panicking when driving, flying, and when I'm not feeling good. I have health anxiety, and being in situations where I feel stuck or uncomfortable for long periods of time really scares me, especially when I'm alone. I will say my panic attacks are much more mild now than they used to be. But I just feel like I haven't had one of those insights that just clicks and changes your whole way of thinking in a long time. Do you have any suggestions? And then she goes on to say, I've thought about rewatching the Little School Big Change course to see if that helps. I feel like I know you're going to tell me my thoughts are making this all up and that I need to not meet it with resistance and then I'll stop. That's true, by the way, but I'm not going to tell you that because that's not something you can just know and do, but you know that to be the case. That's why you know that I would say that. I've really been trying that, she says, but I usually end up having to call someone to distract me so that I don't fully panic. I'm scared because I thought my brain forgot how to have panic attacks, and now it feels like it's remembering again, and I feel myself being scared to drive out in the country and get on planes and things. I've even been considering going on anxiety medication, which I always swore against, just so I can live my life without anxiety. Okay, Sarah. So the first thing, and probably the least important, but important that I want to say is about these insights. So you're kind of having, you're talking about this insight that just clicks and changes your whole way of thinking, and how that happened before. It felt like you saw something and all of a sudden there wasn't this fear. And so there was this energy to want to go out and travel the world and do all of these things that maybe you were afraid to do before. That's nice. That's amazing. I mean, that's obviously very fun when that happens, but I want you to let that go because that's a memory. That's not how insight is. That's not how it's supposed to be. Obviously, it can show up that way. It can feel that way. But that's not like what it is. It's not like, oh, when you have an insight, everything looks exciting and open and you feel this way or that way. It's just honestly not. That's not what an insight is at all. And that's not what's needed. And I think your mind's kind of holding on to that memory and then kind of expecting, like looking for that now, right? Which is normal, of course. That's what minds do. That's exactly what they do, but we want to see that. That's exactly what minds do. They make up some memory from the past, and it is kind of made up. The way your memory of that insight is not how that insight was even. So the mind is kind of going to the past saying, oh, I had this experience before and that's what helped me and that changed everything. And where is it? And how can I recreate it? And how can I get it back? Which is exactly what minds do. But it keeps you in this loop of something's missing, something's missing. How do I find it? Nope, this isn't it. This isn't it because it doesn't match your memory, right? So as hard as this can be to hear, like that's beautiful that you've had that. I've been exactly where you are and had massive insights that I spent years, honestly, trying to recreate and get back. And it's just a closed loop. You're not going to get it back. You're not going to get that back. And we don't need to get that back. That's done and over. It did its work. It was amazing. It's still with you in many ways. Whatever you saw from that, the excitement and the wanting to travel the world and all of that is not here. That's a fleeting experience. But whatever you saw in that, those insights that you've had that had your anxiety really change for a long time, like that's not lost. But it gets thought over and overlooked, when we're looking for something in particular. So that may be hard to hear, but I really want you to see if you can just let that past insight just be, it's in the past. It's not real right now. It doesn't matter right now. It's not something we're going to recreate or that we, again, would even want to recreate. I know it looks like you do, but We don't need it. You're going to see new things in new ways that are appropriate for you right now. That was for then. Okay. So I think that alone, I'm going to say more, but I think that alone will help you a lot, Sarah, because I can really hear it, and you say it many times in here. There's this real looking and sense of wanting that back and thinking something's wrong with how things are right now because it doesn't feel like that. So in a way, your job is to kind of just notice that. Notice when the mind is doing that, when it's comparing, when it's saying this isn't okay because it isn't like this or that. And just see all of that is just spinning thought. All there is this right here, right now. And emotion shows up, sensation shows up, thought shows up, memories, stories, all of that show up in this space that is just this. This is it. This space. The space is untouched. It's fine. It doesn't care what comes through. It's fine with everything it makes room for everything that comes through. And that's what's here, and that's what has never changed. This same space is here right now, and in your worst panic attack, and in your greatest insight. There is something that all of those have in common, and every single moment and experience and all of that your whole life have in common is this peace, this kind of beingness, this awareness, whatever we want to call it, that is here in all of this. So now, lately, there's some energy coming up. And I really, really kind of jumped out when you say I'm scared because I thought my brain forgot how to have panic attacks. Well, again, it's understandable. That's what we hope for, maybe, but that's another thought. It's another kind of thing that we can cling to that becomes an expectation that we don't even realize, that becomes we didn't even realize that was a thought. It just looked like, oh, great, this is done. It's over. It's never going to happen again. And that's not the truth. And that never was the truth. And so it's totally normal that the body mind just replays these patterns for a while. And it's totally normal that there can be a big shift, a big break from that. And then sometimes those old patterns come back. And they're not coming back exactly, but they're reminiscent of what used to happen, right? So there's a little, and you even say that it's not how it used to be. It's much less intense than it used to be, but it's reminiscent, it feels familiar. And then when something feels familiar to the mind's like, oh, this is that, I know what this is like. I know how bad it was before. None of that is real right now. That's all mind and memory and story and thought, trying to give a sense of knowing, but that's not what's happening right now. What's happening right now is there's just some increased energy. There's some increased thought. There's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of fear, a lot of fearful thoughts that are being believed. But again, nothing has really changed, Sarah. Like what you are, who you are, this piece that's behind all of this, it's not touched. It has never changed. What's happening is there's some stuff coming up over it, on the surface of it in a sense, and that's just being very identified with, it's getting a lot of attention, a lot of fear. So don't try to recreate the past. Let this be here now. And as you probably hear me talk about all the time, just keep coming back to reality. What's here right now. A story about the past has nothing to do with this. A projection about the future, they will happen, but they have nothing to do with this. That's just the mind doing its job. It's always going to bounce from past to future. That's just literally what it does. The sensations that are arising, they're okay. That's just what's here right now. The body has some excess energy sometimes. That's all right. It's not coming back. It's not, oh no, this is my new future again. No, it's none of that. It's literally just the sensations. And that's where it's really helpful to let attention be in the felt sense, not in the stories, not in time, right here in the felt sense. Because even if it's the beginnings of what your mind might call a panic attack, you can feel that. Like we all know this. We can feel what's here right now in the felt way. It only is horrible when the mind is coming in telling us what this is and trying to, finish the pattern and all of that. So just see if you can stay grounded in what is. And if you call a friend and that helps the stories kind of go away a little bit while you're just feeling what's there's nothing wrong with that. If you decide to take medication, there's nothing wrong with that. These are all These are all ideas that look real, that cause even more of that tension. So nothing's wrong. Here's my summary. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's gone wrong. Nothing's coming back. There is no future. There's just this. And the body and mind replay things. They're very habitual creatures, even when there's been a break. It's all okay. Just meet it here now. Just meet what's here, right now, and you will know. You will know in that this is okay, that this experience is okay. And let that unfold, and let insights happen however they happen, however they look. They're not going to look like they did before, and they don't need to. We don't really want them to. I mean, there's nothing special about that. That was beautiful then, but you're getting what you need now. So I hope that's helpful. Thank you for sending your question. Reach out. Let me know what questions come up from this. And you guys can send questions to askamy@thelittleschoolbigchange.com. And I will see you soon.